Today we are going to talk about a tool called circle of influence and circle of concern. We all have in our lives, we all have a circle of influence. These are all the things that we have some influence over, things we can do, things we can influence. We also have usually a much larger circle of concern. This is the circle of concern. All the things we are concerned about. We all have this, a circle of influence and a circle of concern. The zone in the middle here, this is called the donut of worry. This is the donut of worry. Stuff that we are concerned about, but really can't do much about. No influence over. We all have a donut of worry. People have donuts of worry. You have a donut of worry. I have a donut of worry. Organizations have donuts of worries. Organizations are worried about certain things. They can do nothing about it, but they're worried about it. Some people have large donuts of worry. Some people have small donuts of worry. And the donut, by the way, sometimes it expands, sometimes it contracts. Now there are two and precisely two ways in which the donut of worry can be minimized. You know what those two ways are? First, you can either expand your circle of influence, that's one way, or you can reduce the circle of concern. That's the second way. Those are the only two ways to minimize the donut of worry. The process of expanding the circle of influence, typically that can be accomplished through empowerment. When you empower people, their circle of influence expands. Circle of concern can be minimized through communication. When you communicate, people's concerns go down. Communicate about stuff they don't even need to know. It is quite easy to understand why empowerment increases the circle of influence. But it's a bit more difficult to understand why communication reduces the circle of concern. To illustrate that, let me give you a little example. Now, I'm a speaker. I travel for a living. I'm on the road every week. My wife, she's an artist. She's at home in a studio all week. When I come back, end of the week, I'm just as happy, to fire up the barbecue and throw something on the grill. My wife might say to me, "Why don't we go out for dinner tonight?" And I usually say, "Fine with me, but I don't want to make any decisions. You decide. Any place is fine with me. You decide where to go." Now, so far, this is a common occurrence in our household. But let me take this and extend this to a fictitious story. Let's say my wife says to me, "Okay, I'll decide. I'll drive. Won't you sit in the passenger seat?" And let's say I ask her, "So, where are we going?" Suppose she says to me, "You'll find out." What do you think happened to my circle, my donut of worry? You see, it all of a sudden starts growing, because now I'm curious. I'm interested in knowing where we're going. Now, mind you, I'm the guy that said, "I don't care. Any place is fine." But I am now worried. I'm concerned that she might be taking me to a place that I don't really like. Mind you, this is a wife of 31 years. She knows me. She's treated me just fine all these 31 years. But I still have this concern in the back of my head. Now, as she's driving, what do you think I'm doing in my head? I'm beginning to guess, where might she be taking me? Now, as every turn she makes, I'm changing my guesses on where she's taking me. Oh, yeah, right. She must be taking me to that place. The place that she really wanted to go always and I really didn't care to go? Maybe that's where she's going. But then she doesn't turn right. You're supposed to turn right to go to this place. She doesn't turn right. Now, all of a sudden I'm going, oh, maybe you know what? She doesn't know the shortcut. She's going the long way to this place. You see, all of a sudden, not only am I concerned and worried about where we were going, but I'm now questioning her driving skills, I'm questioning her navigation skills, I'm questioning everything around me. What does she need to do to reduce my donut of worry? Simple. She needs to tell me where we are going. You know, in your organizations, I'm sure you've had, either in your current company or some other company, an organizational change. Management announces an organizational change. Let me tell you, the day the memo went out, there was no work done in the office. Nobody did any work. Everybody is analyzing why they did what they did. You know, they moved Peter out of there. Gee, I thought Peter was doing a good job, wasn't he? Who is Harry? They brought Harry in. Where is Harry from, by the way? Does Harry know anything about our business? I mean, where is Harry from? What did he do before this? I don't know. Do you think I can do what I used to do? I mean, Peter used to let me do what I used to do. You think I should still do that? Maybe I should ask Harry. Maybe I should stop doing what I'm doing. I should ask Harry. See, what happens the moment the organizational change goes out, the circle of influence reduces and the circle of concern grows. What do you need to do? You need to communicate. We all have a circle of influence. We all have a circle of concern, and therefore a donut of worry. This donut grows or shrinks. You can manage this donut through either empowerment, growing the circle of influence, or communication, reducing the circle of concern. But at the same time, there are some fundamental behaviors of certain people that cause their donuts to be a particular type. What size is your donut? This is a question that a good friend of mine, Glenn Mangurian, asked. And he came up with these 4 types of donuts that people tend to behave in. You see, we have just our base style in personality. We have a certain type of donut that we have just as individuals. Some of us have this view that the world is full of problems. We are concerned about everything in this world. Our circle of concern is huge for these people. But the difference between these two people, the victim and the survivor, the victim thinks the world is full of problems, but their circle of influence is very, very small. There's nothing they can do much about. Everybody's out to get them. That's their view of the world. The world is full of problems. Everybody's out to get me. There's nothing much I can do. Their circle of influence is very, very small. In contrast, the survivor, they too believe the world is full of problems. They say the world is full of problems, but you know what? If I run fast enough, I can get it done. They believe that their circle of influence is huge. So they say, if I run fast enough, I work hard, I can get there. I can survive. Both of these two types of people believe the world is full of problems. They have huge concerns. One believes there's nothing much they can do about it, a small circle of influence. The other believes if I run fast enough, I can manage a large circle of influence. The other type of people believe, yeah, the world's got its problems, but they're not that difficult. They believe that they have smaller circles of concerns compared to these people. And the optimist feels, yeah, we got some problems, but you know what? I got enough tools to deal with these problems. They've got a pretty good sized circle of concern. In contrast, the Federalist believes, yeah, the world's got its problems, but heck, it doesn't really matter. It's a crapshoot anyway. They got a very small circle of concern. These are fundamental behaviors of certain people. So when you see somebody and you're trying to coach them through things, ask yourself this question: what is their fundamental size of their donut? What is the size of their donut? By asking that question, you can place them as to where they are and then ask them, how is the donut changing? If usually the donut is growing, that's why they're in your office or asking for advice. Why is the donut growing? Is the donut growing because the circle of influence is shrinking, or is the donut growing because the circle of concern is growing? Then you can use empowerment or communication to mitigate those. Circle of influence circle of concern. How big is your donut?